We welcome you to Smithfield, Rhode Island. It's the final day of the regular season in the USL Championship. Rhode Island FC welcomes Miami to Byrne Stadium tonight. Sean St. Jacques, Casey White, our entire crew, happy to have you with us this evening. And we start by looking at the live standings in the Eastern Conference. Rhode Island has a chance, of course, to stay in the 5th spot where they begin the day. In the live table, Pittsburgh leading right now, trying to clinch a playoff spot as well. We'll be keeping you up to date on all the seeding scenarios throughout the night.
Well, as a fan, this is what you love. It's tough for teams, it's tough for players, but only 6 points between 11th and 5th place. So a lot of shifting could happen this evening.
Not just our game, other games have a lot of seeding implications, playoff implications specifically in the East. So not just our game, we'll be keeping you up to date on everything going on tonight. The update on Rhode Island's season, this inaugural campaign, is that they've clinched on the first hurdle. They're in the playoffs. It's a huge accomplishment for Conno Smith and his side. The first club to do it as an expansion side in 5 years.
It's incredibly hard to do, and they do it by committee. A lot of different players involved in the attack, great defensive shape as well, but really their opportunities can come from everywhere.
A lot of different players have made big contributions so far this season, but Noah Fuson has topped the list. 9 assists. He actually could get the Golden Playmaker Award at the end of the night. He's just been marvelous.
That's what's incredibly impressive about him. He can also score goals on top of all the assists. He plays that role of provider so well, but he's also dangerous, so it makes him unpredictable in the attack.
Part of a really strong attacking group that Conno Smith has relied on this season. It has been tough sledding, there's no secret to Miami's season, but one of their bright spots has been Alan Gavilanes.
And he has a heck of a left foot. He loves to strike from distance. He definitely has been a bright spot for them. Very creative in midfield, but also has the ability to penetrate, break lines, and score goals.
It's pretty simple in this game as far as the scenarios are concerned. If Rhode Island wins, they're the number 5 seed in the USL Championship playoffs. If they don't win, they could drop a spot or two in the Eastern Conference standings. Miami will hope to spoil the last day celebrations here in Smithfield tonight. What a season it's been for Rhode Island. They'd love to cap it off with a home victory before their maiden voyage into the postseason in the USL Championship. Judgment Day coverage is coming up next.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
At Centerville Bank, we're rooting for your progress. From the everyday moments to the challenges you overcome, the little victories, and the big wins. Because your progress is our purpose. Centerville Bank, progress on purpose.
Rhode Island, our time is now. 2025 Rhode Island FC season tickets are on sale. Score your seats for a season of fun, friends, and football at the Ocean State's brand new stadium. With tickets as low as $16.36 per game and flexible payment plans, you'll get priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and more. It's our state, our stadium, our team. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com and become a 2025 season ticket member today. Don't miss out.
Tonight's match is presented by Rhode Island Energy, official energy services partner of Rhode Island FC. Welcome back, everybody. Sean St. Jacques, Casey White, our entire crew, thrilled to be with you on the final night of the USL Championship regular season. Rhode Island taking on Miami, and we jump into the starting lineups. Cano Smith's side, who have clinched a playoff spot, hoping to keep that number 5 seed tonight.
And they'll come out in their 3-5-2 with Yao right there in the center of their back line, really important. But the partnership of Fuson and Williams, that's going to be intricate to how they want to attack, trying to get in behind the back line of Miami.
If Rhode Island can win, it'll be their 12th win on what's been a fantastic maiden voyage this season. Second game in charge for interim coach Marcelo Alves. His 11 hopes to finish on a high note in what's been a very difficult season.
And they'll match up exactly in the 3-5-2 as well, but I would watch for Matrino and Marana to be in those wing-back spots, get a little bit deeper, look more like a 5-back at times. The wide areas are going to be really important in this matchup between the two teams.
Well, the first time these two got together, it was quite the fixture, a 5-goal thriller in South Florida. Rhode Island were able to get on the right side of that, and hoping to be on the right side of their final home game of the regular season as we are underway from Burns Stadium in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Great crowd as always here for this one tonight. Again, Sean St. Jacques, Casey White along for the ride with you this evening. Of course, we'll be keeping you up to date on everything going on elsewhere in not just the Eastern Conference, but the Western Conference as well. The USL Championship, an early push in there gives Rhode Island a free kick. Alejo Areguin is our head official tonight in Smithfield. And the first bit of news that we can report to you is that one of the games has already gone final in the Eastern Conference. Charleston have defeated Loudoun, and that means that Loudoun United will not be able to make the postseason. So that's the first big shoe to drop in the East tonight. Of course, we'll be keeping you up to date on the scores from Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and elsewhere as the night moves along.
And it can be a tough night, but it can be an exciting night. So many things that are going to be trickling in for us to be able to take a look at and see how it affects here for Rhode Island FC.
Goes all the way through to the end of the night, really. There's a lot of big games out west as the night moves on. Let's take a look at tonight's health report presented by Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic partner and team physicians of RIFC. Learn more at orthopedicsri.com. Isaac Anking, that's the big notable there for Rhode Island, out with a lower body injury. We'll hope to get him back at some point soon, hopefully. And of course, Cano Smith's side already know that they're going to be in the playoffs. It's just about their seeding. And the simplest scenario we can tell you is that if Rhode Island wins, they're the number 5 seed. No team below them can catch them. If they don't win, then it opens up a bit of a kettle of fish, and Rhode Island could plummet to the 7th seed or possibly even the number 8 spot, pending results elsewhere. So that's another reason we'll be keeping you up to date on some of those other games going on. But Cano Smith's side know that if they take care of business, they don't have to really worry about anybody else.
That's kind of a nice position to be in because you don't want to have to rely on other results. You want to just take care of your business, and that's how you approach the game. You got to talk to your players about that. He knows that all too well as a player himself, of how to really approach that and make sure your team's ready to go.
Here's what both teams need to do to build a win tonight. It's presented by Go Fix It. We start with Cano Smith's Rhode Island.
Well, and one of the biggest things that they're going to have to think about is just utilizing the space between the lines of Miami, their combination play in wide areas, which we spoke about as well. And on the flip side, can they stay organized defensively and have counter-attacking transitions? That's what Miami's going to be looking for against Rhode Island, because Rhode Island likes to have a lot of that possession shape. And we're already seeing here early, though, that Miami is looking to press a little bit higher than expected.
Offside flag is going to go up here. It goes right back to Rhode Island. Of course, they've already set a new record this season with 15 draws. Never been done before, especially by an inaugural season team.
What's really interesting about draws as well, sometimes when you get them early on, you go, oh man, we might be leaving a lot of points out on the table. But as you go on throughout a season, what Rhode Island's done is they've made that work for them, where they've been really stingy defensively, hard to score on, and they've kept themselves in games, and it's worked.
Early ball up ahead here is well placed. J.J. Williams was making a good run, and the shot is blocked just in front of the penalty spot, really. In the end, that was Zach Harivo lining one up. Miami will survive the sequence, and a foul's going to go against Mark Ibarra to end the passage of play.
Well, you could see Quizera on that far side really wanted that ball from Harivo. I don't mind that Harivo was looking to do it, but we'll take a look at this last foul as they just continue to counter press to get out, and it gives Miami the set piece as that foul's committed against Cabral. But that's a different look from Rhode Island as well, from that outside to inside pass, multiple runners going. Could have maybe done a little better with it in that final third.
Throughout the season, Cano Smith has mentioned at times decision-making in the final third needing to be a bit more consistent. But I would say probably many teams in this league are trying to improve on that.
Well, he was really honest about saying, okay, we're not the highest scoring team, we're not the stingiest team defensively, so we need to get better in both of those areas, and that reflects where they are in the standings. They've had a great first year. I mean, that might even be an understatement, but he wants to continue to grow in both areas as they go into the playoffs.
Harivo keeps the ball in play for Rhode Island on the far side. Two men on him, he tries to back heel it. But Miami have the answer. Cabral and company will play their way out, and Danny Barbier settles it down for the visitors. Talked about the draws. Early in the season, I think that was kind of the story. Can Rhode Island turn some of those draws into wins? And something Cano Smith kept getting asked about is Frank Nodarce plays a nice ball into the middle here, just over the top of J.J. Williams. And it's cleared out for a throw. I have to go back a little ways, but the one fixture that kind of felt like was the turning point for Rhode Island. Let's go back. June 22nd, they went to Louisville, and they won by 5-2. To this point, no one else has taken any points from Lynn Family Stadium this season. That put them on a run where they ended up winning 5 out of 6 and were unbeaten in their next 7 games. That felt like the game that really helped them lift their season off the ground.
It's certainly a tough ask to go into Lynn Family Stadium and get any kind of points, let alone a win like that, but it really can be a catalyst, and more of a catalyst from a mental standpoint of, hey, we can do this and we can compete with the best in the league. That doesn't mean we don't have things to figure out, but we can, and that's certainly what they did on that run.
It's definitely been a different Rhode Island team since they left with those 3 very impressive points. Corner for Miami to defend here. It's a bit of a rugby scrum on the edge of the penalty area. Quizera sends it in. Chance for J.J. Williams to flick it on. It's cleared away. Only as far as Harivo, headed away by Barbier. Was kept alive. Little flick in behind for Williams. Flag stays down. Harivo back for J.J. Williams. Williams across, and Ibarra couldn't quite get on the end of it. Williams stayed onside both times in the opinion of the assistant referee. Miami survives.
It was extremely close, but we talked about the wide areas, those overloads, the 2-against-1s in that area. Both of these teams it could be fruitful for, but so far Rhode Island is the one figuring out how to expose that space. It was just technically off by maybe a yard with the run from Ibarra.
Just to give you an idea of where the live table in the East is right now, the Rowdies are playing right now. They're leading as well against Indy 11 by 2-0. So right now the Rowdies have that number 5 spot. Of course, a Rhode Island goal would change that. Rhode Island are in 6th right now, just ahead of Pittsburgh, who are winning, and North Carolina, who are winning. If both of those 2 teams win, they're in, and then they will hope that Rhode Island doesn't win, so they can maybe move up an extra spot, maybe avoid a first-round matchup against Louisville or Charleston, who are in the 1 and 2 spots solidified in the East.
Well, we can all talk about how it's great that Rhode Island has already secured a playoff berth, but once you've done that, it's like on to the next. They're not going to want to drop because of the seeding, who you would face, the path now, knowing you're in the playoffs. That becomes that next part of the focus for them. So 3 points, still very critical for this team.
Still early in Rhode Island's evening, but the live table would see them go to Detroit in the first round, a Hamtramck visit. And they'll have to put up with all the smoke and the hullabaloo that the Detroit City fans bring to the table. There's not going to be any easy first-round matchups, but
definitely not.
We'll have to see how it all shakes out. It's going to be scooped up by Koke Vegas. Pressure from Miami. Vegas just about gets it away. That's where Miami can have some danger moments as J.J. Williams with an excellent touch. Noah Fuson collects himself and scores. With the aid of a ricochet, Rhode Island jumps out in front.
And so often that Rhode Island does is that counter-attacking transition. It's really critical to what they do. And it's not just about getting one player forward, it's about getting multiple runners above the ball. This is great play right in that moment from J.J. Williams. Gets it across to Fuson, and really Miami recovers quite well, but Rodriguez is caught going to that near post. You thought the opportunity was missed right here, but Fuson figures it out and gets a little bit of help off the inside leg there of the Miami FC defender, but a good goal to start off for Rhode Island.
That's Noah Fuson's 17th goal contribution of the season. His 8th goal, along with his league leading, tied for league leading, 9 assists this season. And of course, Rhode Island goals are sponsored by Capelli.
When I think something we didn't really expect to see from Miami FC was they are pressing a little bit higher, and they're actually pressing more out of a 4-3-3 instead of the intended 3-5-2 that we thought they'd come out with. So they came out a little bit more aggressive. It worked at times, almost dispossessing Vegas at one point, but what you do is you leave that space in counter-attacking transition against a team that has a lot of ability up top to penetrate behind the back line.
Harivo back out wide, early ball in for J.J. Williams, so we lined that one up. It's headed down for Felipe Rodriguez. Of course, 2025 Rhode Island FC season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history at the Ocean State's brand new Riverfront Stadium in Pawtucket. Catch all the action, all the fun, starting at just $16 and change per game. Tickets are selling fast. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com for more information. The present and the future, very bright. Cano Smith and this organization. Offside flag goes up there against Miami. Of course, it's well documented the struggles that Miami have gone through this season. Fewest goals scored in the league, which is 25. It's the 82nd goal, that Fuson goal, they've conceded this season, by far the most in the league. They've had, actually, believe it or not, the points will tell you otherwise, but they've had a couple of impressive wins throughout the season. They've only had 3 of them, but a couple of them have been pretty impressive looking back. Wins over Monterey Bay and Colorado Springs come to mind. There just hasn't been any consistent, strong play throughout the season, and that's what's allowed Miami to really struggle, and I mean really struggle at times throughout this campaign, trying to end a 7-game losing streak to finish this regular season. I mentioned it earlier, they gave Rhode Island a heck of a test back in July. So 1-0, of course, and Cano Smith would tell you this, still very much in the balance.
It is, and we just saw the direct play from Palacio Central to kind of expose the space behind the back line. So there's moments here where Miami FC can make it dangerous.
Gonna be right here, it's clipped into the middle. Ends up being a comfortable catch and a little bit of traffic for Vegas. In the aftermath of both Hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the Storm left behind. To learn how you can get involved, scan the QR code or visit www.uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to resources they need to recover. Well, challenge there is fair, according to the referee. I think that was Cabral, a bit heavy on Fuson, according to the fans at least, and Fuson needs a moment, and Cabral is helping him get back to his feet.
I like seeing that reaction from Cabral. It wasn't called, but I did think that was a foul, and you saw his reaction right away to make sure that Fuson was okay in that moment. But he's on the wrong side of this play. Fuson has the advantage here and just comes in. Really no attempt to play the ball at all. So really surprised that wasn't called, but you could see it right there, just making sure he was all right. And it will get back under play, but Fuson, for me, coming out of that midfield space and his connection with Williams is something that's really exciting to watch. Fuson is a former member of Forward Madison, USL League One a few seasons back, then played with Columbus Crew 2, MLS Next Pro. It's on an Eastern Conference Championship side here as J.J. Williams is going to walk this in for 2. Well, it's a goal in some ways that sums up Miami's season. J.J. Williams waltzes his way through, and Rhode Island are 2-0 up inside of 16 minutes. And again, Miami's in an expansive shape during build-out, and this counter-attacking transition is just really hurting them. Dispossessed right in this area. Haribo's first on it, but it's the penetrating pass immediately that springs Williams in behind, and then this little deft touch right there. It's creative, and Rodriguez does go down, but I like that Fuson looks to play this in behind on the first one. That doesn't allow Miami to recover.
That is the 10th assist for Noah Fuson this season. It could be the assist that wins him the Golden Playmaker Award in the USL Championship this season. He's got a goal and an assist, so does J.J. Williams. And it's a perfect start for Rhode Island.
Well, there you go. They both owe each other a thank you, though, in that moment. Williams gets the goal, and Fuson may take that home for himself for the season.
Another Capelli sport goal for the Rhode Island fans to celebrate. And it's gone according to plan so far for Cano Smith and company. I'm not sure J.J. Williams will score a much more simpler goal than that in his career. But it's all really from that wonderful Fuson pass.
Well, what's interesting about that finish as well, though, Sean, is that I think it's really difficult where Rodriguez comes out. You don't think the front runner is going to do what Williams did in that moment. So credit to him for doing it. And he didn't hit it perfectly, but it was thrown off just enough for the goalkeeper, Rodriguez, not to be able to react. It's not your typical finish in that moment.
You know, Miami are going to try to push to try to get a goal back here, but as you've already seen, could that open them up again? Another Rhode Island break.
There's a lot of space in the middle third when Miami is in possession. There's a lot of good movement from Miami, but if they are technically off, there's a lot of space to expose going forward. And it's a 2 against 2 with Williams and Fuson going against the 2 center backs. That's what's making it difficult in transition.
Barbier. Near side, Molina. Molina slices a lovely ball through. Gavilanes, we know he can hit them with his left. That was blocked away. Haribo helps it along, only as far as Barbier. And Miami recycles the play all the way back to Palacios. Cabral. Up ahead, it was headed away. And it will be touched out of play for a throw into Miami.
Well, there's a flexibility of systems we're already seeing with Miami. Palacios is going more into that center back role, into a 3-back system, which is what we expected initially. That allows them to always have a number up situation against the front 2 of Rhode Island. So it makes sense to have that change in system with what's happened so far in the first 19 minutes.
Sakharova has been heavily involved, also just recently signed a multi-year contract extension to stay here with Rhode Island as well. So it's a night to celebrate that, amongst many things going in Rhode Island's positive ways right now at the end of this regular season. Of course, you can catch every heart-pounding moment at Rhode Island FC's stadium at Tidewater Landing. 2025 season tickets are on sale, offering flex payment plans, priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. Don't miss out on an unforgettable season of fun, friends, and the beautiful game. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com to become a 2025 season ticket member today. A few pictures of the construction and the progress at Rhode Island Stadium have gone under, have been released, and it's going to look like a wonderful, wonderful venue. And they're able to move there next season and take another giant step forward after what's already been a marvelous step in the right direction this season in year one. Again, the 2 goals that Rhode Island have scored, I should say, have put them into 5th place in the live table. As long as they stay ahead, they'll stay where they began the night. And at that point, in the live table, again, night is still young. A potential trip to Indy to take on Indy 11 could be the first Rhode Island FC playoff game against Sean McCauley's group.
Well, if you're Connor Smith, you're happy with starting this way, because one thing is about the way you're playing and the system and the principles and all of that, but to have the lead and be able to manage the game in the way you want to do, that is really nice going into a playoff push. Not only are you trying to obviously secure that 5th place so you can have that, but it's also nice to have it early on where you can really try to work on your roster, your partnerships, other things that are outside of just the result that's so critical.
It's a foot race here. J.J. Williams is going to win this race for Rhode Island. Able to get there. And Dalton Knutson here. Quizera slipping it through for J.J. Williams, and it's just a little bit too far out in front. It was deflected by a Miami defender, and it is going to be a Rhode Island corner on the far side. Of course, corners are presented by HILB Group. Well, he's got 1 assist already. Noah Fuson lines up another potential goal-scoring opportunity here. Bends it into the middle, and, well, Rodriguez was able to make the catch.
You can see Rhode Island really trying to overload the back post area. Rodriguez does really well because no one gets across the front of him. Even when you overload, you want to be able to slice in front of that goalkeeper, but he does well in that moment for Miami.
One other Miami note that we should mention to you is that their leading goal scorer, Frank Lopez, not in the team tonight. Not only is he not in the 11, not amongst the substitutes. So Miami down 2 will not be able to lean on their leading goal scorer tonight. Besides Alan Gavilanes, Frank Lopez has really been the only other bright spot in the attacking third for Miami this season. Will move this forward. Quizera tries to flick it back. Gavilanes picks up the pieces for Miami. Molina plays it centrally. Desart to get involved. Gavilanes is forced to reset it back to Palacios and company.
And this is a good spell of possession for Miami, but these are the moments, too, if they are dispossessed, that they have to have a recovery shape. If they lose it, that's what's hurt them so far. But enjoy the ball, keep the ball, try to move Rhode Island around, and they do give it up in that moment. But I think there's moments like that where you see some bright spots from the way they are trying to build. It's just that final piece of execution, especially against a team like Rhode Island, who's very organized defensively.
organization is one of the reasons why Rhode Island has been so tough to beat at home this season. 16 prior home games. Heading into tonight, just 2 defeats, 6 wins, 8 draws along the way. That foundation is a big reason why they've made the playoffs.
It is, and you make a good point about it being at home, but then they just went on the road to Charleston and were very good defensively as well. So they're starting to grow into that in their away form as well, figuring out certain spaces to try to minimize for their opposition. So that's a really good sign when you're going into playoffs.
That ball is played up ahead for J.J. Williams. Williams with 2 on him, looks to try to find the angle. He'll hold it up. Harivo looks to help. It's feathered out to this far side. And the layoff, looking for Holstead. Chopped away. Recycled by Duggan. Quizera. Fuson, little give and go. Was Fuson upended inside the penalty area? Referee gave that a look, said nothing wrong with it. And Miami trying everything to get out of this situation, and Desart is fouled. It's a free kick.
Well, this is where frustration sets in because they feel hard done by not getting that foul called at the top of the penalty area, whether it was or wasn't. But you start to see that, then you have a softer one called there. That makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah, 1 or 2 shouts for a penalty from the Rhode Island contingent, not answered by the referee. Clip to the near side, Harivo. Going to celebrate his new contract extension. And that's going to be chopped out. Cabral up ahead, Gavilanes also helping it along. Michael Lawrence leading the break here for Miami. First time ball into the penalty area, looking for Molina. It falls for him, and it's a wonderful block. Grant Stoneman laying it all out there. He comes up with a huge block. Molina was wide open for the shot.
That's one of those things that gets the crowd into it. You could hear it, that's exciting, and that's really hard to do in the penalty area because there's a chance that it could hit your hand. I mean, you have to do it just right, and Stoneman does a great job.
Up the other end, Williams from Holstead. Harivo. Reshuffle here, that is Stoneman who just came up with that huge stop. Up the other end. Holstead assesses the scene and gets it back to Stoneman as Miami pushes up the field. Was Fuson fouled there? Referee acknowledges it and does stop it. No Rhode Island advantage comes forth, so it's going to be a free kick. Taken quickly. Fuson from Ibarra. Miami briefly caught out there, and then, well, Fuson looking for that one falls to the ground. Miami retains possession after that. But it's quickly cut out by Karifa Yao. Quizera has his pass cut out by Knutson. On the turn, Lawrence also looking for a foul. The referee again. Let's play continue.
And you can really tell by the way Rhode Island is keeping possession. They look composed. They're trying to manage the moments of the game. You're in this kind of middle period of the first half. You don't have to go all the time. It doesn't always have to be a transitional game. So can you make Miami come out? Because when Miami steps out in more expansive shape, that's where they're finding these little spots between the lines to break free.
Quizera early ball into the penalty area. Nearly sneaks all the way through for Nodarse on the near side. Miami does clear. Back up ahead by Stoneman. And then quick feet from Molina, who has to be careful here. It is won back by Ibarra. Fuson across. That was blocked away. Either trying to find Williams or maybe even Quizera, the late arriver. And Lawrence's hold-up play is snuffed out by Yao for a Rhode Island recycle. Ibarra, former Pittsburgh Riverhound, surges ahead. Gets it back from Williams. Duggan has been a wonderful addition to this Rhode Island group in the defensive unit. And it could open up here for Quizera. And Felipe Rodriguez saves it out for a corner.
And all of that possession is rewarded with this space that they're able to find. It's Duggan going forward, finds Quizera, and then continues the run. That allows there to be space created for Quizera to come inside. Tries to bend it into the near post, which is a very hard angle to finish from, and Rodriguez does well.
Another HILB group corner for RIFC. Fuson to take. Approaching the half-an-hour mark here in Smithfield. Alina blocks it. Again, Miami have not been able to really have too much in possession so far. Quickly, Rhode Island retrieves. Slipped through by Nodarse, trying to find Clay Holstead. And Ibarra is forced back. Morris Duggan, sliding it through for Williams. Palacios will concede the throw instead of the corner. Again for Marcelo Alves, the interim coach for Miami, his second game in charge. Antonio Nocerino parted ways with the club 10 days ago. They're 2-0 down here and they're under siege again. It's won back by Ibarra. Holstead lays it off. Fuson assesses the scene, picks out Nodarse. Harivo back across, it's 3-0. First time finish by Mark Ibarra. And it's his first goal of the season for Rhode Island to make it 3-0.
And the name of the game in this first half has been runs above the ball. That is what Rhode Island has done incredibly well. Yes, their finishing touch has been on point, but runs above the ball is what has unsettled Miami. You'll see Harivo do it right here. It's been Williams most of the day. Harivo does it. It's well-timed. It's a great ball. You're not going to see a much better textbook goal than this. To get towards the end line, cut it back, and you get that perfectly arriving run from Mark Ibarra and a great finish. Nothing Rodriguez can really do in goal in that moment.
It's Mark Ibarra's 94th league appearance. It's just his second ever league goal. The last time he scored was for Pittsburgh last season. That was the only goal he scored for the Hounds. He's finally scored his first goal in a Rhode Island shirt.
That's got to be fun for him. Not only just to get a goal, but to get one for Rhode Island. But also, you know, to be fair to him, he plays in that holding mid-role. He's a connector between the back line and the attacking midfielders. But it's nice to see that rotation. What happened to be able to spring the play wide was Holstead and him kind of interchanging, and Holstead was a little deeper. It allowed him to have that more forward run that you don't normally see from him.
Another Capelli's sport goal for Rhode Island. We're now on the back foot here. It's played into the middle, cleared away by Karifa Yao. And then Frank Nodarse helps it out of play. It's a Miami throw. Three different Rhode Island goal scorers in this first half. Cabral. It's into the penalty area, but again, the offside flag goes up, this time against Michael Lawrence, and the attack fizzles out. The 2025 RIFC season tickets are on sale now. Remember, don't miss your chance to be part of history at the new stadium in Tidewater Landing. Season tickets are available starting at just $16.36 per game. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com to learn more and get on board. Quizera into the penalty area. It's Holstead. It's saved by Rodriguez. Could have very easily have been a fourth.
And again, good overloads in the wide area. It's Quizera that's the recipient of those overloads. Takes on Marana in the wide space. Just gets us a little bit too high. It couldn't drop enough with the run and the timing to let that come down to Holstad's foot. But what we're seeing is from Miami, It's a lot in isolation with pressing. When you press by yourself and your whole team isn't organized to step with you, a lot of space is created, and that's something Cano Smith spoke about. Wow, good feet from Rodriguez in that moment. But one of the things he talked about was, can they take advantage of any disorganization that does come from Miami, and that really has been the name of the game in the first half.
Yeah, it feels like 2 of the 3 goals have been just that.
And even just the opportunities, right? Like what we're seeing there, really, like you said, only the 3rd goal was an extended spell of possession and ball retention in the final third and that build-up. But the other 2 definitely came from a transition moment when there was a disorganized shape, and same thing with that last attack.
And again, if the result holds, there'll be no scoreboard watching, at least not too much, from the Rhode Island supporters. They'll be in the 5th spot. They'll either face Detroit or Indy, pending the results elsewhere in the first round of the playoffs. Miami moving this forward here with Gavilanes, trying to get something back here. Handball appeals come in on the edge of the penalty area. I don't think that was in the penalty area. Miami keep it moving. 10 minutes left in the half. Gavilanes into the middle. Lawrence is saying he was brought down away from the ball. Rhode Island escapes with possession. Karifa Yao. And it's pinned out of play down the far side.
And I think it's worth noting for Miami, there are some good things we're seeing. It's kind of hard to say that. It's a 3-0 deficit at this point, but that just shows you how the little things can provide a lot of separation in the USL Championship. So they have some good runs above the ball. There is some spell of possession in the middle third. It's the transition moment and the ability to stay really organized and compact defensively that's been their breakdown here this evening.
Just another check on scores elsewhere. For those just kind of getting into the fold tonight, Loudoun losing earlier against the Charleston Battery ends their season. So Loudoun United will not make the playoffs this time around. North Carolina leads, Pittsburgh leads. If they win, they're both in, and that would eliminate Birmingham, who plays later on tonight at Oakland. It would also eliminate Hartford, who plays later on tonight at Orange County. So that's a reason to keep an eye on those scores. Rhode Island doesn't have to worry about those scores as long as they stay ahead here.
Well, it's nice to be in a position where you don't have to worry about other results. But if you're Hartford and you're Birmingham, who are playing a little bit later, you're just wanting to have something to play for and not have those results all go against you. So it'll definitely be interesting as those start to finish up.
Louisville also leading at home against Phoenix. More records on the line than anything else there, as Vegas gets his head to that. The other game going on, this unfortunately doesn't mean much for the playoffs. Haribo is fouled. Tulsa leading Monterey Bay by 2-0. Both of those teams were eliminated earlier in the week.
And just right at midfield, just aggressive stepping against Haribo. Knutson called for that foul, but that's what we're seeing in this game. Miami is giving a lot of pressure. They're putting a lot of effort in, work rate to step and press. It's just, is it in the right moments? Is it without fouling? Just not to allow Rhode Island to continue with their possession, but Rhode Island's done really well to absorb that pressure.
Three different players with a goal for Rhode Island, and 3 different players also with an assist for Rhode Island. As Fuson on the turn here looks to do more damage. No Darce. Of course, has scored 5 goals this season. He's been a set-piece specialist for Cano Smith's group. Duggan. Holstead. No Darce keeps on going on this near side. Clips it across, looking for Fuson. Holstead couldn't really get enough behind it. Fuson, is he brought down in the penalty area unfairly? Referee points to the penalty spot. It is a penalty in the end. Well, Eligio Areguin had a very long thought over that. Miami obviously disagree, but the penalty has been given.
And there's been a couple times where Fuson looked like he had been fouled. It wasn't called. Then he's gone down a little bit easily around the penalty area. This one, Holstead doesn't connect well. Fuson's the recipient of it. is able to shield the ball, and it does look like there's contact. I don't know if Fuson played into that a little bit. There's contact on that left leg, and there was, like you said, there was a little bit of time given just to consider it and see if this is something that was going to be called.
It's one of those where you wonder if we had VAR, what the decision would end up being, but the decision is the on-field one, and that's a penalty.
I do think that there was contact. How much contact, and did it cause exactly what happened? That's what it's hard to see, but I do think there was initiated contact there from the defender.
Now it's going to be J.J. Williams to step up. Scored once already in the half. He's on 4 league goals this season. A chance to put Rhode Island very much on the track for 3 points before the end of the half. And Williams delivers from the penalty spot. A first half brace for J.J. Williams. And Rhode Island are on cloud 9 before halftime is approaching. It's 4-0 to the hosts.
This is an absolute no-doubter from J.J. Williams. Steps up with a lot of confidence. We'll see how they got it called right there in that moment. It's Cabral that is the fouler, and then J.J. Williams steps up, just puts an absolute strike on this. Nothing Rodriguez can do. And these are the times that are really important. You get all your players feeling good, feeling excited, getting some different goal scorers going. This is what you want as you head into playoffs.
Getting some Judgment Day momentum, Rhode Island FC. A Capelli Sport goal again from J.J. Williams, and I think it's safe to say the fans here are very, very happy so far. 4-0 is the score. Of course, the other part of it as well is that Miami have just not had much of an answer for J.J. Williams. He's been all over the place in the final third.
What's been really impressive is, yes, there has been some disorganization from Miami, but it's the efficiency with how Rhode Island has attacked. One, they get the deflected shot from Fuson. That was a bit unfortunate at the beginning. Then J.J. Williams has a really creative finish. Just a lot of different ways to score, but what I've liked is the way that they've built through midfield. There's always a run above the ball. So if someone checks to the ball, there's a run above the ball. It's incredibly hard to defend that if you're not very organized and very compact. And so give credit to Rhode Island for pulling Miami out of their shape as well. It's not just disorganization, it's the way that they're attacking in that moment.
Again, nights like this, with seeding and playoff positioning on the line, they can get a little hairy, especially when you're taking on a team that has nothing to lose at the end of the season. But so far, Cano Smith's side have handled it perfectly.
Well, following up with the second goal within 6 minutes, that's the critical piece. Okay, yes, you can argue the first goal is, of course, like every goal is critical to people that are playing, but the second goal just takes away that, what if we give up a bad set piece? What if we give up a penalty? What if there's a counter-attacking chance? Because Miami had a few of those early on where they were able to get into the final third. It takes that away, and then you just become even more calm as the group that's ahead and can continue to play and build.
First time passes from Miami, trying to play their way out, but again, Rhode Island wins the ball back, and they'll win a throw-in just to the left of Cano Smith. Now, the 4 goals also means that Rhode Island have now scored 52 regular season goals this season. Bit of a communication there. Mikio Arreguin with his assistant referee, maybe even the 4th official on that far side, just maybe making sure they can continue to communicate as this first half winds down. And Williams, who's on a hat trick, tries to dash his way through. Miami do emerge with possession. It's clipped up ahead. Karifa Yao is there, and again, the offside flag goes up against Michael Lawrence, not for the first time tonight. That's also been a bit of an issue for Miami. They've had a couple of moments where it looks like they might be able to get in behind, but the runs haven't been timed up well enough for Marcelo Alves and his group.
Yeah, it's just those little details. And usually when you have a team that's had the tough season that they've had, that's usually what it is. It's small things that can become bigger things as the season goes on. It's incredibly difficult, and him stepping into this role at the end of the season is not easy, right? So you can see some positive things, but it's little technical things here and there, timing, that really can undo a team.
Ibarra. Perfectly placed ball out to the far side for Quizera. Quizera trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It is going to be cleared. Miami might have a chance to break up the other end here. Hold up play from Lawrence, and he's actually the one who's fouled here by Karifa Yao. Not sure Cano Smith agreed with that, but it's a Miami free kick. And quickly it's won back by Rhode Island. J.J. Williams, who's on a hat trick, tries to get the hat trick, and it's blocked away by Barbier. Well, Rhode Island very quickly got that back up the other end. And another free kick. Miami will get a second try at it.
Well, and those are the little moments we're talking about, though. Like, how off your attacking free kick does that happen? And that's just those little lapses in moments and the focus piece that has to be locked in a little bit more from Miami tonight.
3 added minutes remaining in the first half. A brace for J.J. Williams. Noah Fuson has scored as well. Second of those from J.J. Williams was from the penalty spot. And Mark Ibarra's first goal for the club as well. And then Michael Lawrence gets one back from Miami. Well, well. Michael Lawrence gives Miami a little bit of hope at the end of the half. And we've had a 5-goal half here in Rhode Island. It's 4-1.
And it was a bit hopeful from the wide area, but this is what happens when you serve it into the penalty area. Anything can happen. It comes off Stoneman's heel. Michael Lawrence, all you want to do, get that on frame with power. That's what he does, and anything can happen. So it's almost exactly what happened for the first goal for Rhode Island early on in the game. Now Michael Lawrence is the recipient of a good deflection if you're a Miami FC fan.
His 3rd goal of the season. Yes, Rhode Island stay in control, but a little bit of late life from Miami at the end of the half.
And putting my coaching hat on, if you're Cano Smith, you're not happy with that because, okay, yes, you're happy with all the goals you're scoring, but you're thinking when you have that much of a lead, you're already thinking about the little details. What's going to come back to haunt us in playoffs? What are those things going to be? And those are moments that you will use as a teaching moment for your team, because what if it's 0-0 and something simple like that happens? That could be the end of your season.
Cabral gets a talking to here from the referee. Just over a minute left in the half. Now this game's got the most goals in it right now of any USL Championship game going on at the moment. Bit of a first half goal fest here in Smithfield. Of course, Rhode Island have done the vast majority of the damage. I'm not saying that Miami will do it, but we've seen a couple of 4-goal leads nearly slip away this season.
Stranger things, you never know.
Tampa Bay Birmingham in the Open Cup comes to mind. The Rowdies at the Switchbacks, they almost did it a few weeks back.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think that's going to happen. If another goal happens for Miami, then it might start to get a little bit dangerous there, but you never know. There's still a lot of time in this game.
What is Halloween, 5 days away?
Still
you just
a little
never
further
quite
away.
know.
Right, exactly.
Final seconds of the half ticking away as Darce moves it forward. It's going to be a chance here. J.J. Williams is in behind, and J.J. Williams has a first half hat trick. How about that? His 3rd, Rhode Island's 5th. And they have a 5-1 lead to take into the halftime break.
And again, as Williams celebrates there, going over to Rodriguez, getting the ball, it's that expansive shape again, and it's the attacking transition. They win it back, and overshifted. Marana is way on the other side. You can see the frustration from Barbier coming in. Why are you so far away? There's so much space for Williams to run into. But credit Williams, it takes 2 touches before it's in the back of the net. He's so efficient. He has such soft feet, great technical execution to beat Rodriguez, and ends the half with the goal.
That Capelli Sport goal is the last act of the half. JJ Williams entered tonight's game with 3 goals all season. He has 3 in the first half, and Rhode Island have soared to a 5-1 halftime lead.
Well, a lot of times when you're a front runner, you may score that many goals and you haven't really been involved in the play. What I like about JJ Williams is he's been incredibly involved in the run of play as well and has been rewarded on the score sheet.
So far, so good for Cano Smith's side. They're in very good shape to finish the season in 5th position as they have a 5-1 lead on Judgment Day in the USL Championship. We'll step aside for a moment. Plenty to come at the half, including scores from around the league. How about this? A first half hat trick for JJ Williams.
It is good. The Miller Lights win the big game.
You're right, Luke. Miller Lite is less filling and tastes great.
Wait, is this a dream?
No, Luke. This is Miller Lite commercial.
When you make your play and things just go your way,
I won.
That's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
At Centerville Bank, we're rooting for your progress. From the everyday moments to the challenges you overcome, the little victories and the big wins. Because your progress is our purpose. Centerville Bank, progress on purpose.
It is good. The Miller Lights win the big game.
You're right, Luke. Miller Lite is less filling and tastes great.
Wait, is this a dream?
No, Luke. This is Miller Lite commercial.
Halftime here in Rhode Island, 5-1 is the score. Cano Smith's side flying and hitting on all cylinders so far. Get to scores from around the league and other things coming up in just a moment. But first, learn more about how you can become an RIFC season ticket holder.
Hello, Rhode Island FC fans. My name is Travis Watkins. I'm your Senior Vice President of Ticket Sales here at Rhode Island FC. I'm here to share with you some exciting news about our opening of our brand new state-of-the-art facility. It's going to be our own home for soccer, where we'll be cheering on the team for many years to come. I want to share with you how to become a season ticket member. We have lots of benefits. Flexibility and affordability are some of our key benefits, but there's plenty of others. Merchandise discounts, concession discounts, gifts and events, and many more special perks for being a season ticket member. So if you want to come out and enjoy all of your Rhode Island FC games for under $20, join us and visit rhodeislandfc.com to learn more about becoming a season ticket member.
Really can't wait to see how all of that unfolds in the new stadium next season. We'll step aside for a moment. 5 stars so far for Rhode Island. They lead by 4 goals at the half. We'll have news and notes and more from around the league coming up next.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome to Do or Die. Welcome to stories that give meaning to it all. The juggernaut chasing history. The hero hoping for a Hollywood ending. The upstart determined to make the most of its shot at glory. Welcome to second guessing everything. Every coach's decision. Every referee's call. Every pass, shot, tackle, save. Because you know it all means more now. Welcome to the playoffs.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Rhode Island, our time is now. 2025 Rhode Island FC season tickets are on sale. Score your seats for a season of fun, friends, and football at the Ocean State's brand new stadium. With tickets as low as $16.36 per game and flexible payment plans, you'll get priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and more. It's our state, our stadium, our team. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com and become a 2025 season ticket member today. Don't miss out.
Sean St. Jacques, Casey White back here with you at the half. Rhode Island 5, Miami 1. So far, it's all going according to plan for Cano Smith's side as we look at the fans who are tonight's winners. The seriously nice seat upgrade presented by Breeze Airways. They've had a nice view of the 5 Rhode Island goals that have been scored so far. We'll see if Rhode Island can continue that in the second half tonight. Trying to close in on that number 5 seed in the USL Championship. Tiger Bomb brings you the news and notes from around the league. The likes of Nate Steinwasser, of course, with a score on a penalty kick in a regular season match. First goalkeeper to ever do that. Great milestone for Enzo Martinez. And, of course, 15 draws for Rhode Island to get them through a new league record. But they're not going to get a draw tonight. I think that's pretty fair to say.
I don't think that's on the books for tonight with the way they've started this game. But, hey, it got them to this point.
Yeah.
That's a very impressive stat for this group.
You hear all the time, right? Can the draws be positive or are they a negative? You talked about it earlier. Rhode Island's turned it into a positive.
100% they have, and I think it's put them in a great position.
Of course, there's a lot of other big games going on. We've been keeping an eye, not just on the games that impact Rhode Island, but the games that impact the entire USL Championship. Big news here. Pittsburgh have won. They clinch a playoff spot in the East. North Carolina have won. They clinch as well. Loudoun out after losing earlier today against the Charleston Battery.
And it doesn't necessarily matter how you clinch or who you clinch against. You just got to get into the playoffs. But it is impressive what North Carolina FC has done beating Las Vegas Lights because they're in great form.
Louisville leading right now against Phoenix. Tampa Bay leading as well. Other games to keep an eye on. San Antonio are already out, but Detroit trying to clinch the 3rd seed. They're at 0-0 right now. Nothing to work on for New Mexico. Memphis needing some seeding work, 0-0 early in Albuquerque.
And that's what's interesting because it's all about matchups, right, at that point. And yes, you're in, but now you're just trying to improve your status. Who do you match up well against? How high can you climb up those standings?
By the way, if those North Carolina and Pittsburgh results are confirmed as well, that means Birmingham Legion and Hartford are out. So those games would not mean anything to them later on tonight. So we'll see how that all plays out. That might not be looking too good for Tom Stone's side and for Brendan Burke as well. By the way, Sac Republic, Colorado Springs also fighting for home field in the first round. We'll keep you updated on all that as the second half gets underway. We'll step aside for now. Highlights, stats, and the second half kick from Smithfield are all coming up after the break.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
At Centerville Bank, we're rooting for your progress. From the everyday moments to the challenges you overcome, the little victories, and the big wins. Because your progress is our purpose. Centerville Bank, progress on purpose.
When you make your play and things just go your way,
I won.
That's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
Sean St. Jacques, Casey White back here with you at the half. Big second 45 coming up between Rhode Island and Miami FC. Connor Smith's side closing in on the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. Lot to look back on in the first half highlights between these two. They scored 5 goals between them in the first meeting. Casey, they've scored 6 goals already in the first half here.
There was a lot going on in this game, and JJ Williams was a huge part of it, but this time he is the person getting the assist. It's Noah Fuson able to get this goal in the 10th minute. Almost looks like the opportunity is going to go away, but he does a good job just to get it on frame. When you put it on frame, things can happen like a deflection, and it would only take 6 more minutes. And what we saw a lot in this first half was Miami in possession, dispossessed, and then immediate breaking of the lines right there from Fuson. He repays the favor to JJ Williams for the second goal.
First of many, it would be in the first half, not just for J.J. Williams, but for Rhode Island in general. Take a little bit of time to get to the next one after J.J. Williams made it 2-0, but they just continued to push and continue to create chances, Rhode Island, in this first half.
I love this goal because Ibarra starts that entire play with that little flick over the top. He continues his run. There's an overload here. Haribo finds it wide, and it's Ibarra continuing to go in. No one tracking the holding midfielder's run, and it's a great finish to the back post.
First goal for the club, just his second goal in the USL Championship. That made it 3-0, and Rhode Island were far from done.
Fuson again, in and around everything going on, draws the penalty kick. It took a little bit of time before it was called. There was an initiation of contact, and then Williams steps up and absolutely blasts this to the corner. Nothing Rodriguez can do in goal because there's so much power behind the finish.
A brace for Williams at that point, but he'd make it a hat trick in first half stoppage time.
Miami, right before he does, is able to finish in this moment. They get their own deflection off of Yao, and it looks like, okay, there's a little bit of life, but right after, within 2 minutes, J.J. Williams comes in, and look at all this space that goes there. It's a great little touch in behind from Haribo, takes 2 touches to get around the keeper, and he completes the hat trick before it's even halftime.
Doubling his league total for the season, and 6 goals in all in the first half of this one. And the stats would tell you that it's all of the 5-1 that we expected it to be when you look at the scoreline, really.
Well, the impression of how the first half felt is really how the stats look. The possession, not that much different. It's making the most of the opportunities you create. That's what Rhode Island did with 9 shots, 7 of them on frame, and 52% possession. Yes, they had the edge, but to be honest with you, the stats definitely don't reflect the scoreline at this point.
Yeah, really strong for Rhode Island so far. How about the clinical play? 7 chances on goal, 5 goals. As we look at the league table in the East, Rhode Island with a win. Again, they'll be in 5th place, and they'll likely play either Indy or Detroit in the first round. If the results hold in Pittsburgh and North Carolina that we showed you earlier, those 2 teams will clinch a playoff spot. Birmingham, Loudoun are already out. Hartford would also miss out as well. Those are the scenarios in the East.
Well, if you're Hartford or you're Birmingham, you're hoping for a little bit of help, but it's nice to have it in your hands if North Carolina and Pittsburgh can pull it out.
So we will keep an eye on those games going on right now. One game that just had a goal in it that slightly impacts the table. Detroit has scored at San Antonio. That would go a long way for Danny Dichio's side to clinch the number 3 seed, which of course could mean potentially, depending on how it all shakes out, 1 playoff game, maybe 2. They get some help elsewhere in the first round of the playoffs. Second half here in Rhode Island is underway. And within the opening 10 seconds, a foul is going to go against Rhode Island, it looks like.
Leaving the match, number 15, Mujib Morana. Entering the match, number 2, Alan Aiz. Rhode Island FC.
Well, Miami are asking the medical staff to come out onto the field here.
And entering the match, number 77, Amos Shapiro Thompson.
There were some halftime changes, it looks like, for both sides. We'll get to that as well in a moment. Of course, there was this collision.
You know, it was off its initial long service, a collision there, not a lot in it. There's definitely the arm that goes across the front, and so he'll stay down a little bit, get checked on. It looked like a hard landing as well on top of it.
Rhode Island had a change at the half. Clay Holstead came out of the game. Amos Shapiro Thompson took his place. And the Miami change that already happened. Alan Aiz is in, and Mujib Morana is out, and the player who was down was Alan Aiz. He just came on at the half, and now he's already in some discomfort for Miami in his first action since coming on as a substitute. Hopefully he's okay. Saw a brief shot there of Shapiro Thompson, who's on. And for the challenge, we've been told that J.J. Williams received a yellow card for that.
Well, that's really interesting because now you've got your player that has a hat trick with a yellow card looking to go into playoffs. So you want to be a little bit careful here. So I would assume he'll get some minutes and he'll have to be smart, but we may not see him finishing out the entire game. And that might have happened anyways, just to manage minutes and get other players involved. But now that puts an extra layer to it.
So it looks like Aiz is okay for now. We'll keep an eye on that. Literally just came on at the half. Now he just trots back on there, number 2 in orange for Miami. Came on as a halftime sub and nearly picked up an injury seconds into the half. Of course, J.J. Williams has been the star of the game so far. Already has a hat trick. And we'll see if he can add on to his total. He gets a touch in there. Miami going from left to right in the second half, have a throw in.
And something when you're watching Williams as well that's really nice is he moves so proactively when the ball's not even about to come to him, but just on the off chance that if he goes in a forward run more vertically that he may be rewarded. And what that does is it either rewards him, which has happened tonight because there's been such space between the lines, or it makes defenders react. That then allows your midfield to have more space. So it's been really nice to watch just the way he's really interacted with his teammates, and he's been rewarded for it this evening.
Couple other score updates that we didn't touch on as much earlier. The Rowdies have a 3-0 lead over Indy. That would help Detroit clinch the number 3 seed. Again, would pretty much solidify an Indy-Rhode Island first round matchup in the playoffs, 4 versus 5. Then Tulsa leading Monterey Bay 2-0. We mentioned that earlier. Both of those teams already out of the Western Conference playoff chase. And the one thing we know, as far as the East is concerned, that's been confirmed, is that Loudoun have been eliminated from playoff contention. They lost in the first game of the day at Charleston by 2-1. Tough to see Ryan Martin's side go out. They had maybe one of the best, if not the best, Loudoun United seasons we've seen. But they are not going to be a part of the postseason. Tough to see that, but if we know Ryan Martin like I think we do, he will be excited to get another crack at it next season with a great team as well.
Well, there's steps every year for Loudoun, and they're a fun team to watch, but you see the growth of that team and all the changes they've gone through. Ryan Martin does an excellent job with them. It'll be hard to swallow for sure, because ultimately you want to see that reward with the playoffs, but another step forward for Loudoun.
Here's J.J. Williams. He's already scored 3. Tries to facilitate one on the far side. Shapiro Thompson holding up the play. Crowd really got into it when he picked it up on that far side. Amos Shapiro Thompson is making his Rhode Island FC debut with that substitution. Did score 1 goal for New York Red Bulls 2 last season in MLS Next Pro.
And we haven't seen a whole lot of this, even though it's a 5-1 game where there's been this spell of possession. They are dispossessed there, but you can see how that was something that Rhode Island can continue to work on. Okay, if they are in this shape where there's an organized defense behind them, what does their speed of play look like? What do their movements look like? And we may see that a little more in this second half as Miami tries to be a little bit more condensed.
Talked about J.J. Williams and his 3 goals. He's got an assist as well. J.J. Williams has been involved in 4 of the 5 goals that Rhode Island have scored already.
In these build-up patterns, you see commitments to run above the ball. You have 23, who's Mark Ibarra, running above the ball from his holding mid position. It just creates space to continue to possess. Fuson did it again. That really makes a back line uncomfortable.
Williams keeps the ball in play. Still, J.J. Williams saved. Haribo on the follow-up. Fuson skies it.
And just from a technical standpoint, you can see the frustration, but from a technical standpoint, Fuson just waits instead of actually getting his body over it. This is really good hold-up play, trying to draw the foul there, but Williams just puts it across, puts it with power, right here on the standing leg, just doesn't get his knee over the ball to be able to get this down and get it on frame. Credit Haribo with just keeping it alive, being brave in that area and combative to allow the opportunity to drop to Fuson.
2025 Rhode Island FC season tickets are now on sale. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history at the Ocean State's brand new Riverfront Stadium in Pawtucket. Catch all the action, all the fun, starting at just $16 and change per game. Tickets are selling fast. Go to RhodeIslandFC.com for more information. Aiz, he's gonna run out of room. It's a goal kick. Well, remember those results from earlier we were telling you about? Well, we have confirmation now. Pittsburgh have won by 2-0. They're in to the playoffs. What a wild season up and down at times it was for Bob Lilly's group. They're in to the postseason. North Carolina wins as well. They come from behind to beat Vegas. They're in.
Incredibly impressive, incredibly impressive, because there's a lot of pressure when you're in a playoff position that you could lose that. So it's a whole different type of pressure that both of those teams had to come up against.
This is gonna fall for Frank. No, Darcy! Wow, what about that? You say, I say, they all say no Darcy. Frank No Darcy makes it 6-1 to Rhode Island with his 6th goal of the season.
It is almost impossible to pick a favorite goal of this game, but that one might be a contender for me, if I'm honest with you, Sean, because the way he picked out his corner, you could almost like feel the thought process going on in his head, how intentional No Darce was. It gets into the wide space. Quizera tries to put it in, but right here, you can just see him take a look, open up. Both defenders shift one step to their right. This is an incredible finish. You have to technically start that ball outside the post, knowing that you're going to hit it right on the outside of the ball to curve it into the goal frame, and he does just that. What a great finish from No Darce.
He's known for scoring goals with his head, Frank No Darce. It's a big pat on the back from Cano Smith on a Capelli Sport goal.
Cano Smith knows that's a good goal, but he didn't even have the angle we had. So yeah. I'm sure when he sees that later tonight, tomorrow, probably later tonight, if I know coaches, they're going to look at those things. He's going to like that even more.
6-1 is the score for Rhode Island. Frank No Darce is still getting some congratulations from the Rhode Island bench on that far side. I think the referee is checking on something, which has led to a little bit of a delay here. And by the way, because Pittsburgh, just to finish the earlier thought, Pittsburgh on 48, North Carolina on 48. Oh, and there's the reason for the delay. Some exuberant celebrations from the Rhode Island fans have spilled over onto the field. Because Pittsburgh and North Carolina are on 48, that means Hartford cannot catch them with a victory. They're out. And Birmingham also cannot catch either side with a victory. So those two teams, unfortunately for them, they both have had positive moments this season, especially Hartford in recent weeks. They will now know going into the games tonight that they are eliminated.
That's incredibly disheartening.
Yeah.
And with it having different kickoff times and everything, where you go into the day with these high hopes and thinking, hey, we've got a chance. Let's take care of our game. Maybe we'll get a little bit of luck from other teams. Other teams will upset the ones that we're going up against. And then you hear that before a kickoff. That can be really hard.
Now they're coming together here. Another collision there. Mitrano got the wrong end of that. Another look.
Mitrano's just taking off right in this moment on a sprint. There's just a little bit of interaction with No Darce. Not a lot in that, but I think just tangling up the legs a little bit as he looks to grab that right ankle.
That goal, by the way, that Frank No Darce scored has just set a club record for Rhode Island. Most goals they've scored in a single game, beating the 5 that they scored at Louisville earlier this season. Meanwhile, Rhode Island are going to make a couple of changes here. That's Jack Panayotu, who is going to come on. He's returned to another stint here on loan from New England Revolution. He comes on for Zach Harivo. And we're also told that the hat-trick hero, J.J. Williams, has been taken out. And Albert Dequa is going to enter the fray.
And I'm not surprised to see this, getting Dequa back into the game, getting him some time, and Panayotu into the game. I think it might have happened a little bit earlier with that yellow card we saw with J.J. Williams, but this is what's great about your starting unit, starting quickly, starting strong, being rewarded with all these goals. You can go into those rotations and make sure everyone's staying extremely sharp and work on your unit play.
The chance here for Rhode Island. It could be another one here, but Rodriguez gets there ahead of Fuson. Nearly a perfect introduction from Albert Dequa. No, Darce steps in. That's what he's more known for, his defensive work. Does really well to clean that up, but it looks like it did go out of play just before he cleared it. It'll go back to Miami as we approach the hour. But it's quickly won back by Panayotu. Dequa outside of the boot ball for Quizera. Quizera tries to thread the needle. It's cut out. Now 6 goals and counting for Rhode Island. Here's Dequa. Fuson up ahead. Quizera has time and space. And his shot was just a whisker wide of the post.
And with those substitutions coming in, the defensive work, the swarming, the hunting to win it back has even increased a little bit more, and you see it and they're rewarded in those moments in the counterattacking transition.
Of course, Albert Dikwa, who was the first big signing Rhode Island had during the offseason, was of course the MVP and Golden Boot winner with Pittsburgh last season. That was one of the early season talking points. How would Pittsburgh be able to cope without him? Well, both teams end up finding a way into the playoffs in the end. How funny is that? Check out all the exciting postseason action as the USL playoffs presented by Terminex kick off in November. The top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for all the latest playoff information. Such a long season, such a wonderful season. We're finally going to know at the end of the night who's in, who's out, who's playing who as well in the first round of the playoffs after all of the moving and shaking.
Well, that's the space between the lines. Panayotou does a great job to get in where he's facing forward, not on the half turn.
Oh, another chance to thread the needle there. It could still fall for Dikwa. Cleared away by Rodriguez, just about in time.
And one of the things we're seeing a lot with Rhode Island's attack is we'll take a look here as there was a collision and medical staff's being asked to come on to the field to take a look, and hopefully he's okay. But one thing we're seeing from Rhode Island that's been really good is they make those penetrating runs and then they cut back to the ball. You can tell that's something that they really try to layer into the way they play. Incredibly hard to defend.
Not for the first time, a Miami player down with an injury in the second half. We'll take another look at the intervention.
It was a good challenge right there. It looks like a little bit to the back of the head. Yeah, immediately goes down. And you could tell by the referee, our center official, immediately asking for the athletic trainers and the medical staff to come onto the field. So handled well there by our center official.
Well, the player down is Miami's lone goal scorer tonight, Michael Lawrence. We hope Michael Lawrence is okay. Meanwhile, you can catch every heart-pounding moment at Rhode Island FC's stadium at Tidewater Landing. 2025 tickets are on sale now, offering flex payment plans, priority access, discounts, invites to exclusive events, and much more. Don't miss out on an unforgettable season of fun, friends, and football. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com to become a 2025 season ticket member now. These fans have provided a wonderful atmosphere and soundtrack for the game all season long. We're talking off air about the wonderful derby atmosphere they had earlier this season when Hartford came to town. But it's really been pretty much every home game this team has brought it. And remember, after the win over Hartford, Cano Smith talked about how the fans brought it, we brought it, the coaching staff brought it, everyone brought it that night. And they've had other great nights like that here this season. This one will be added to that list.
When you have a new team and even just a new season, you're always going to have some different pieces. You want moments that are going to be catalysts for how you move forward, and you look for those throughout the season. And that's one of those, just from a club as a whole, galvanizing the fan groups, everything like that, and also with the play.
Touched ahead by Panayotou, who is upended. That's going to be a foul, a free kick, and a yellow card going to the defender for Miami, Junior Palacios.
And Panayotu's been very forward-thinking since coming into the game, taking off. He makes really quick decisions. That's all really that could be done by Palacios in that moment, or you let him go and then he's off to the races. But obvious yellow card, but I like what Panayotu's done since he's come into the game. Always looking to play forward, but it's under control.
Yellow card for Palacios is confirmed.
In the 64th minute, leaving the match, number 8, Gabriel Cabral. Entering the match, number 23, Rocco Gonzalez.
We should mention as well that Rhode Island, not the only team to have scored 6 goals in a game this season. Charleston and Louisville both did it on the same day back in April. Charleston against Vegas, Louisville against Hartford. Charleston actually did it a second time in August as well. So Rhode Island add their names to that list. It's one of the best goal-scoring performances we've seen by anybody this season. Miami made a couple of alterations during that last stoppage. Rocco Genzano came on. There, Cabral came off, Molina out, and Luisinho came on for Miami. And now Rhode Island are also going to make a change here. Grant Stoneman is going to come out. He had a huge block earlier in the game that should not be forgotten about. Steven Turnbull will take his place. Game was still up for grabs at that point when Grant Stillman made that huge block inside the penalty area.
Well, if you look at the game in totality, you think, oh, it's just this wide open game and maybe moments didn't matter. But you're right, that a moment like that does matter. You don't want to give your opposition any reason to think they can come back into games. And so that was one of those moments. When Miami did score in the first half, they reacted with a goal within 2 minutes. That's another moment that you can't just say it just happened. Rhode Island made it happen with the way they responded.
First time ball centrally, looking for Noah Fuson. Another reason for Rhode Island fans to watch some of the later games. Jorge Hernandez for San Antonio is the only player that could potentially catch Noah Fuson for that Golden Playmaker award. He's currently 1 assist behind Noah Fuson, who has 10 after his assist earlier tonight. So another reason for supporters in this part of the country to keep tuning in for the games later on tonight that obviously have big playoff seeding implications. And again, after the big wins from North Carolina and Pittsburgh, we know the 8 now in the East. It's about who's going to play who. It's still to be confirmed. Rhode Island well on their way here to clinching the number 5 seed in the East with a win. '25 RIFC season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history at the stadium at Tidewater Landing. Season tickets are now available starting at just $16 and change per game. Visit RhodeIslandFC.com to learn more and get on board. Miami were trying to move that forward. Referee says it was handled by Joey Dezard. He was not convinced. Tough to tell from our angle. We saw the back of his shirt. His reaction will lead you to believe there might have been something in that. Fuson back across here looking for another assist. And it was just touched away after Rodriguez made the intervention. Fuson commits the foul to end the sequence.
It was a really great touch from Rodriguez in goal. Great, strong hands in that moment. Fuson tries to cut it back. That is incredible goalkeeping right there. But you need that defender as well to make sure that there's not a second chance opportunity. And to give Miami some credit, it is not easy to play in these moments. Tough season, tough game, but these are professionals. They are coming out, they're still trying to press, they're trying to improve on the second half, and as a staff, that's what you've got to think about as well. Hey guys, we can't deal with what happened in the first half, we can't take that back. What do we do in the second half to be better? And so credit to them for doing that so far.
Nice ball up ahead here for Fuson. And Fuson tried to touch it forward. I think he was the last to touch it. It's a goal kick for Miami. Final 20 minutes of this regular season for both teams. Rhode Island, if you're just joining us, scored 5 in the first half and 1 here in the second half. Dikwa moving this ahead, looking for another. He managed to stay on side, and Rhode Island have a throw-in for a change. He's going to be made here with 20 minutes to play plus stoppages. Told that it is going to be Noah Fuson who makes way here. Another wonderful performance from him. Wonderful season as well. Ends the regular season with a goal and an assist, up to 8 and 10 respectively. He's replaced by Joe Brito, one of the heroes from the Derby win over Hartford a few weeks back. And that, I believe, is Rhode Island's last change of the night.
You talk about the goal scoring of Fuson, but I think what's really impressive, not only with him, when you have J.J. Williams now, it's on 6 goals. You've got Dikwa, who we know can score goals and buckets. Usually when you say a team scores by committee, it's because no one's contributing a lot. It's a lot of people, but I think what's unique about Rhode Island is it is by committee in some ways, but it's big numbers still, and that's what's been incredibly impressive about their attacking production.
Something that could lead to a memorable postseason, perhaps, for Rhode Island as well. One thing is for sure, I think I can speak for Rhode Island FC when I say this, that this really had all the makings to be a night of celebration, really, for this Rhode Island season to this point. They've already gotten over the first hurdle of clinching a playoff spot, well on their way to being the number 5 seed as well, as they have to defend this sequence. But this really should be, I should say, a night where Rhode Island fans can reflect on what's been a wonderful inaugural season and then have that hope that it could be a few more weeks left in the season.
Well, I think if you rewind back to the beginning of the season, you would have said you would have clinched before the last game. I think they would have taken it, but it's always like that. You get there and then you're like, okay, well now we got to finish as high as we can, right? But you're right, it is a celebration of that, and I'm sure these fans don't forget it.
Gavilanes lets it go and sends it out of play for a goal kick. Now watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches including the championship final will be available in Spanish throughout the rest of the season. You can go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. It's going to be a foul and a free kick for Rhode Island.
I like that step from Palacios, though. You can see Miami's pressing high, but the whole team's not committed to it, and that's just causing more problems for them. If I'm Palacios as a center back, I'm stepping in and I'm trying to win it or create the foul, because it at least allows you to get your players behind the ball. You'd almost think that they'd rather sit back just a little bit if the entire back line's not going to step with them, to try to keep Rhode Island from having that space.
A couple other games have gone final elsewhere. Lou City No surprise here. Trailed early, but beat Phoenix by 4-1. They end the season with 16 wins at home and just 1 defeat at the hands of Rhode Island on their home resume. The Rowdies, big 3-0 win over Indy. That clinches the 3rd seed for Detroit. And the Rowdies stay in a decent space seeding-wise, looking like they're going to get the 6th spot. If that's the case, the Rowdies would go to Detroit in the 1st round. And again, as we've been kind of hinting at throughout the evening, Rhode Island would go to Indy for their 1st ever playoff game in early November.
I think you have to be happy with that if you're Rhode Island. I think that's going to make for a very interesting matchup between those two. Not a lot of separation in the standings. The 4-5 matchup is always an interesting and exciting one.
Yeah, as it stands right now, Indy and Rhode Island will actually finish on the same number of points. Indy getting that 4th spot on a tiebreaker.
Well, so it seems fitting, right, for only those two to match up.
Dikwa, it'd be pretty fitting if he were to score, and he obliges. 7 heaven on Judgment Day for Rhode Island. They lead by 7-1, and this performance will go down as one of the best scoring performances any team has had in the USL Championship this season.
The off-ball movement has been impeccable, especially in transition. See it right there, it's that turnover. It's Brito on the ball, the movement above by Dikwa, well-timed. Palacios, instead of playing, is putting his hand up for the offside. It's not offside, and it's in 2 touches that Albert Dikwa is able to finish. It's textbook, it's low, it's to the back post, and a great finish from the front runner.
He's into double figures now this season. The number on the back of his shirt is his season goal tally. 10 now for Dikwa in a Rhode Island kit. And these fans get to celebrate another memorable moment on this final day of the regular season. Another Rhode Island goal brought to you by Capelli Sports. It looks like Miami made a change there. Jordan Ayambila has come on. Another alteration there for Marcelo Alves and his group. Ayambila, of course, is a defender. And he takes out Jordan Palacios, who was sitting on a yellow card. Luisinho gets past the challenge here for Miami. Tries a reverse ball in behind. Did it go out of play? It looks like it did. It's a goal kick.
Well, and from a coaching staff perspective, I'm sure they're enjoying this if you're Rhode Island, but you're also thinking about, okay, there's 14 minutes left plus change of this game. What can we get out of these last few minutes? We have new players in, we have some different units, some different partnerships. Can we get a shutout in this 2nd half? Let's train the focus of our players, because there's going to be shifts in momentum that they're going to see in playoffs and things that they're going to have to figure out. So you're always wanting to look to see how you can grow, even though the scoreline is what it is.
Brito leads the Rhode Island charge again. Deke was in behind again! And this time he's not able to hit the target. A wry smile. It's a goal kick.
Well, it all has to do with the preparation touch in that moment from Dikwa. It's really tough. You want to take that across your body with your front foot, which would be his left foot in this scenario, but he takes it across his body with his right. And so technically it isn't perfect, so it allows Knutson to come over and cut the angle down.
Last season in the USL Championship, San Antonio scored 7 goals at Charleston. That was back on May 13th, 2023. Don't have the entire encyclopedia of the USL Championship in front of me, but that's a more recent result. Last time a team scored 7 in a game in the USL Championship. Late foul there, yellow card comes out. Michael Lawrence, I believe, is who received that.
And some understandable frustration coming out, but you don't necessarily want to see this. It's Panayotou with the great technique, and Lawrence comes in from behind, and oh, that is a tough tackle on the left ankle. And luckily for Panayotou, he just pops right up and keeps going, but that could have been very dangerous.
That's the last thing either side wants, is a late, I'm talking late season injury. Especially for a Rhode Island side that want to use this momentum to roll into the playoffs. Quizera wins a throw. It's already tied the largest margin of victory by a team in the USL Championship this season. Talked about those two 6-0 results earlier. Actually, 3 of them. Great ball across by Panayotou. My goodness, Albert Dikwa was a couple of inches away from scoring a hat trick. He's had 2 missed chances now.
And Rhode Island as well, just to really keep Miami in this moment, uses that first run from Quizera to distract, to get Panayotou on the ball, and then it's Dikwa coming across. It's lifted, which it has to be to get over the defender's foot to get to Dikwa in the first place, but just a hard one to finish with that pace.
Brito nudged off the ball by Cavallanes. Helps it down the line for Ayambila. Ayambila just trying to poke it forward. It's going to roll out of play. Now Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. The highest scoring game this season in the USL Championship was back on August 31st. I think many that follow the league will remember this one. It was North Carolina 4, Louisville 6. We are 2 goals away from matching that, I should add, with 10 minutes to go, but that is the record for this season so far as goals between the 2 teams.
Well, it definitely took 2 to tango in that one. They both contributed a lot to get to that 10 goals. That's a big one.
If I remember correctly, there was also 3 own goals in that game as well, which I believe is also a league record.
Contribution.
Yeah. Good hold there from Koke Vegas. He's going to go back to the postseason for a 2nd consecutive year. Was the #1 at San Diego Loyal last season, now defunct side, and he's going back with his new club, Rhode Island, this season as Quizera leaks in behind here, and he scores! 8 goals for Rhode Island. And it just keeps on getting better and better for RIFC on their final night of the regular season.
Well, you could almost sense the relief, and now we're seeing finally that little smile coming out from Quizera. A more direct ball here. Quizera goes in over the top. Rodriguez tries to cut the near post, does get a touch on it, but enough power. Quizera's had a couple opportunities, so you could almost sense that he was happy. Okay, this one goes in. He does well just to get enough power on it with enough bend around Rodriguez and goal. And you got to kind of feel sorry for Rodriguez in this moment because there's no Miami FC player recovering in the picture to put any pressure on the player.
Now Rhode Island continue to make history with this goal-scoring tally. It extends their personal record for goals in a single game. It's the most we've seen from a team this season in a singular outing. Another Capelli Sport goal, 9 goals in total. Miami having a very, very rough night at the end of a very, very difficult season. Desart will come out here. Sebastian Joseph comes on. It's all smiles for Rhode Island. Again, we said earlier, Cano Smith would have wanted them to go after this, clinch the #5 seed under your own doing, and they've certainly done that tonight.
They haven't, and it's really hard because Miami FC has gone into that 5-3-2, but it's just disjointed. And some of that has to do with how they're playing, some of that has to do with the movement of Rhode Island, and it's just kind of that perfect storm, I think, tonight, where the efficiency in the final third has been good as well. Everything just seems to be clicking, and it's taking advantage of that disorganization from the back line.
Panayotou has his pass cut out. Ball's threaded up ahead for Lawrence. He scored Miami's only goal of the night. Genzano. Luisinho. Gavilana is trying to pull a rabbit out of his hat and wins a free kick for Miami FC. Six minutes plus stoppage time left to confirm Rhode Island's number 5 seed in the East. Gavilanes will take. From the set piece towards Barbier. It was a brief opportunity there for Knutson, cleared away. And Miami recycles the possession all the way back with Mitrano. Barbier stayed up ahead. Lawrence looks for the angle. And he goes through the back, it looks like, of Shapiro Thompson. Free kick for Rhode Island.
We haven't seen a lot in this game, which is the defending set pieces that Rhode Island would have to deal with. That is something Connor Smith talked about with us this week, was that's one of the phases as well. The 4 phases of the game, then also the set pieces that he knows will be crucial as they go through this playoff stretch, and wanted to make sure that they were stingy defensively. There was an opportunity right there to show that they could be.
It's going to be a yellow card. Genzano holding back Jack Panayotou. Second time. They've just not been able to cope with Panayotou's pace in the midfield.
Well, he's always looking to get on the full turn and face forward. He's not trying to play simple, and you see that tug after, and that's because he's trying to be forward thinking and get into the space in front of the back line.
No Darce. They've scored the best goal of the bunch for Rhode Island. And Shapiro Thompson has it cut out, but he wins it right back, and then pinballs around. Turnbull tries to reset. It's won back by Lawrence. And then a giveaway to Dequa. Quizera looks to get another goal. And it fizzes past the post. Miami looked to have had that under control, but you talked about earlier, fine margins, and it led to a giveaway.
Well, the counter-pressing has been energetic, it's been tenacious, and it's been organized from Rhode Island, and it allows them to attack in that transition. Quizera going for another one. You can see the confidence that's building out of that, and I think they're known for their counter-pressing, Rhode Island, and they've been really effective in it this evening.
Rodriguez harried by Dequa. We said earlier, this had a chance to be a very memorable night for Rhode Island. It's turning into that, and a record-setting night at that. Throwing for Miami with 3 minutes of the 90 still to play. We talked about that game earlier, a memorable 10-goal thriller between North Carolina and Louisville. A result at the time that some thought could bury North Carolina as far as the table was concerned. Well, they're in.
They figured it out.
Yep, they found a way. Player down here for Rhode Island as we're getting towards the dying embers here. Oh, another yellow card comes out. I think that's for Iambila. Got involved there with Stephen Turnbull, who's struggling to get up for Rhode Island here.
A yellow card has been issued by the referee to Miami FC's number 3, Jordan Iambala. in the 89th minute.
Ayambila was booked, and this was the challenge that, well, different challenge actually. Turnbull was down away from the play. That was a different part of the sequence with Shapiro, Thompson, and Gavilanes getting involved.
Well, but that's what can happen in these final minutes that you want to be careful of if you're Rhode Island. There's no real need to do much, take on too much, get into these late challenges. Move the ball, increase your speed of play, and get out, because those things can just continue to stack on when there's a frustration. But we'll take a look here. It's the late foul right there where the booking does come from, and then the additional foul comes after that, and it's a bit of an add-on.
So Ayambila, we're told, was booked, and Shapiro Thompson for his retaliation challenge, also booked. To your point, Casey, no need to muddy the waters in the 90th minute. It's been a fabulous Rhode Island performance, arguably up there with one of their best we've seen this season.
Well, one of the things that you can really see about teams that are playing with good form and have different evolutions of their form is they take what the team gives them, right? You have a game plan coming in, but you have to also find the spaces within the game, and that's where they've been really efficient. We talked about it earlier. The keys were just utilizing the space when Miami is disorganized in their transition, and they've done that, check mark for that. And then those combination plays in wide areas, that's an area that's been really fruitful for Rhode Island in their attack going forward.
Darce has it, and there's going to be no stoppage time at the end of this one. Full time in Smithfield. It's an 8-1 resounding win for Rhode Island to finish their regular season. They clinch the #5 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs with their best goal-scoring output to date in the club's history. And they take care of Miami and get to celebrate what's been a wonderful inaugural season to date on their final regular season night before a potential road trip in the playoffs next week.
This is a dream final game if you're Rhode Island FC. A tough night for Miami, but if you're Rhode Island, you are happy. You get the 3 points, you secure your playoff position in 5th place, and also you get the performance you want. You get your players confident, you're clicking on all cylinders, and now you go, okay, but that doesn't matter, we gotta look to the future. But this is certainly the way you wanna send your team into the playoffs.
It was all led by a J.J. Williams hat-trick along the way tonight. Other players like Noah Fuson and Frank Darce got involved. All in all, it's an 8-1 win in total for Rhode Island. And after the break, we will wrap it all up here in Smithfield.
And it's good. The Miller Lights win the big game.
You're right, Luke. Miller Lite is less filling and tastes great.
Wait, is this a dream?
No, Luke. This is a Miller Lite commercial.
When you make your play and things just go your way, that's a good play.
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has been a good play, awarding more than $57 billion to winning players, over $6 billion in commissions to local businesses, and over $8.8 billion to the general fund, supporting all of Rhode Island.
It's a really good play that can make your day.
The Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for Rhode Island for 50 years and counting.
Hey Providence, we're Breeze Airways, and we offer non-stop flights from Rhode Island's T.F. Green International Airport. We're redefining what it means to fly up front. This one's for you. Introducing Breeze Ascent, the newest, nicest way to fly. It's seriously comfortable, satisfying, and affordable. Book today at flybreeze.com and experience the nicest way to travel. Breeze Airways, seriously nice.
And it's good. The Miller Lights win the big game.
You're right, Luke. Miller Lite is less filling and tastes great.
Wait, is this a dream?
No, Luke. This is a Miller Lite commercial.
Postgame is presented by High Bar Physical Therapy, the official physical therapy partner of RIFC. Visit highbarhealth.com today to begin your journey to feeling better, moving freely, and living fully. What a night for Rhode Island, and what a night for our man of the match. It's J.J. Williams, had an assist, and he had a hat trick as well, as Rhode Island put together 8 great goals.
An incredibly great performance and a first-half hat trick at that for J.J. Williams, but his play within the run of possession was also incredible tonight.
Of course, our plays of the match tonight brought to you by Rhode Island Energy. We get to look back at all 3 of J.J. Williams' goals.
His first one was in transition, a little cheeky finish right there to go around Rodriguez in goal. Figures it out, gets it across the goal line for his first goal of the game. Steps up in the penalty kick moment right here. Just a good moment of focus, and then a turnover in possession, and takes 2 touches for his 3rd goal to get around the keeper and enjoys a little celebration.
It was all in the first half, and Rhode Island's 8 goals, 5 of them were in the first half, and they were really in control from there. Save of the Match is presented by Centerville Bank. Make progress towards your goals with Centerville Bank, official bank partner of Rhode Island FC. This was a huge block at the time from Grant Stoneman to keep out Miami in that attempt from Molina.
And that's a hard moment to do that, but he comes across, he fully commits, he gets his hands out of the way, makes sure that that's not a problem, and comes up big.
Could have dreamed of a better final regular season game for Rhode Island FC tonight. Tough way for Miami's very difficult season to end, but it's all smiles in Smithfield, and Rhode Island wins it by 8 goals to 1, paced by a J.J. Williams hat trick. For Casey White and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from Smithfield. A historic night for Rhode Island. They score 8, and they clinch the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And the next week, we'll have the playoffs for you. Until then, good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.